I was so obsessed with threesomes. I was like, oh my God, I want
Oh.
this. I love watching porn with a partner. Absolutely love it. You just go to the vagina hole, you move up with your finger until you hit a wall, and that's where it is. It's like the top of the fucking Christmas tree.
And you do get naked and I can touch some of you.
Welcome to Let's Talk About with Lili and Lou, the podcast in which we are going to discuss with you all the things that multidimensional women in the 21st century go through in hopes that we can break some taboos together. But first, every episode, we are going to start with a confession corner because Lou and I have actually never met in real life. We've only ever met over the internet, so we're like modern day priestess. And that's why we are going to do a confession corner with you.
Hello, cuties. It is time for another episode, and we are super excited. As always, let's start with our dirty little secrets. Lou, the honors are all yours.
Okay. So this one's a bit more spicy because I wanted to bring a little bit of spice here.
Oh, girl,
And
talk to me.
Last time, so I've moved in, we can see. I've said that it's different plan in the background, bit of a random setup. Anyway, so me and my boyfriend were coming back from birthday dinner party.
Oh.
And we were just a little bit in the mood and kind of joked around about going down on him right there and there in the car.
Oh, I love it.
And I had never done that. And you know what? It was freaking nice, man. I really enjoyed it. I don't know who's done this before. By the way, we were not in danger.
Exactly. That's like the first thing that people are going to think, like, not so dangerous. But no, I love that confession. That's such a good confession.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy for you.
What do you have to say?
Well, mine is not as dirty or spicy. Not dirty. I love that confession of yours. Definitely doing that with my future hubby. Yes, I went to a slutty Halloween party on Saturday. And as probably most of you know, I barely ever drink. Just because it doesn't sit right with my body. Like it's just not for me anymore. I used to drink a lot, or not a lot. I used to drink, and then at some point I was just done. I
love that. I didn't know this about you.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah, I barely ever drink. I think I drink like 5 times a year max, like maximum. And well, I went to this party. Cool. Like I make these exceptions. I went to this party and it was a slutty Halloween party, and I was like, let's go. I was dressed in my go-go dancer outfit. I was ready for it. And then I had 2 drinks and I blacked out. I vomited. Everything was nope. I had 2 drinks, and even though like I know that I can hold my alcohol a little bit better than 2 drinks, because like the previous time before that I drank way more, but this time I don't know, my body was not having it. I had 2 drinks. During those 2 drinks, the party was so good. I saw this cute guy, made out with a cute guy, and then all of a sudden I was like, I need to go home right now. So I left and I vomited out of the taxi window. Yes. It's disgusting.
Been there before.
It was, and I thought like we're in the middle of the night, but because here in the Netherlands, the rule is still that everything closes at midnight. It was 9 p.m. It was 9 p.m. I got home.
Whoa, actually been there before too.
Completely off it. And I arrived home at 9 p.m. But I do have a date with the guy that I made out with. So
I like that. Okay.
Yes. So
you go.
That's
girl.
My confession. Ooh. That's my confession for this week. And I think there's going to be a lot more confessions this week, because this week we're talking about everything sex work related. Yes.
Yeah.
Porn.
So actually, I am going to do the interviewer kind of thing today because as of this day, I have still never watched porn.
Wait, what?
Wait, okay. What? Not at all. I've just never been curious, never felt like it, didn't need it. I'm open to do it with a partner, actually. Wink, wink. But
I hope he listens to this. Can you please listen to this, my hot boyfriend?
But yes, that's why it's like, let's just dive right in. What is porn or considered as porn, Lily?
That is a very good question, because when you were talking about it, I was wondering that, like, what do you consider as porn? Because I think a lot of people consider like the very heteronormative, like penis and vagina, or like actually like going down on each other, or if it's like lesbian porn using like a dildo. I think a lot of people see porn as penetration, like images or that like pictures or videos of people getting penetrated or like doing sexual acts. I would say that is considered porn, but in the bigger spectrum, in my opinion, if like it is something other than penetration, obviously like sex is way more broad than just that. In my opinion, that could also be considered porn. But that's how I view it.
I think it is way more broad, actually.
Yes. So anything that kind of calls for arousal, that arouses you.
Ooh, so where do you watch it?
Oh, that's a good one, because I kind of switched. Like I used to watch a lot of porn. I think there's this misconception where people think that women do not watch porn. And okay, in your case, that might be true, but I would like to disagree, but we'll get back on that. I think, or I know, like most women also watch porn, maybe just different porn than most men. And I used to watch porn on Pornhub, until I found out that on Pornhub, there's also a lot of illegal stuff. They don't regulate it. A lot of people on there don't get paid. There's also a lot of rape videos on there. Yeah, so I stopped watching.
Oh, yes, stolen content. Yeah. I've heard that
Exactly. So since then, I kind of stopped watching on there. And I've been looking for different like places to watch porn. I've tried El Cinema. I had a collaboration with them on a sensual video that I did, and I watched a few of their films. They have erotic films. Which is nice. And it was more like, they're more like around female pleasure and more around sensuality, instead of like the hardcore like bam, let's go.
We'll dive into that in a minute.
Yes. I am a big fan of finding a porn actress or actor that you really like, and then looking them up, because most of the time they have a different platform where they also sell their stuff. So like on OnlyFans, or like a different platform that they use.
Good tips.
Yeah. So that's I think that is one of the things that I'm looking into a little bit more now, because in my opinion, ethical porn is on the freaking rise.
I like that.
And that's how it should be.
Talking about that, are there different types? And I'm not talking like ethically, but more like,
yes.
I mean, you know what I mean. I'm not even sure how to explain it.
Yeah, different types of sex acts, you mean, I think. Or not?
Yeah.
Or
like lesbian porn and things like that, obviously.
Yes, I used to watch a lot of
is it inclusive?
porn.
All that kind of stuff.
No, like let's be honest, in my opinion, or like the porn that I found like used to watch was definitely like the top 10. I was not someone who was like scrolling through like thousands of videos. I just picked one that looked hot. It is inclusive, like for every kink you have, or in the way that for every kink you do have stuff, but it definitely isn't inclusive as in like fat people. There's you have mixed race, but a lot around like or different races, but it's a lot centered around like the stereotypes, like big black men with big cock, or like
I've heard that joke before.
Young Asian girl, like submissive Asian girl, like stuff like that. So it's not necessarily or not that I used to like watch or like see while scrolling. Not necessarily the most inclusive thing. It's not like, yeah. But I do know that there's a lot of, you do have a lot of like homemade content, not always like amateur porn, or that's what they want you to think. I'm sure that a lot of it is staged anyway, but you do have a lot of that.
Yeah.
So
I've heard that too. Okay.
Yes. And I think like platforms like OnlyFans kind of promote that as well.
Yes, this is in my questions. Don't get too ahead of yourself.
I'll wait.
I'm getting there.
I will wait.
What age did you start watching it, do you reckon? And like, do you have a favorite type from?
Oh, that's a good question. Said already? That's a good question. I think
I'm getting curious.
I was like 16 or 17 the first time I watched porn. Oh no, maybe earlier, because I remember, and that can also be classified
going on 17. Sorry.
I feel like that could also be classified as porn, because I remember one of my friends looking up a video, or like, and back then you had to pay for those videos as well, which I think is for sex ed, I'm not like so sure. This was a sex ed video where she looked up like how to give a blowjob, and they were like showing it, like two actors were showing how to give a blowjob. So I think that's the first time I watched porn. I was like 15 or something, or 14.
Okay.
Yes, I think so. Ooh. But that was like we were not watching that and like, oh my God, I'm getting so turned on. No, it was like, oh my God, I wonder what that is like giving a blowjob. And then what kind of porn? Like later, I didn't really answer your previous question, to be honest. Because you do have like lesbian true. You do have like all sorts of porn, and I'll get into what I like a little bit more. I used to watch, like in the beginning, I used to watch like dominant submissive like things where the woman was more submissive and the man was more dominant, like in any type of form. Loved watching that. And then I was a little bit older than 14 then when I started watching like Pornhub kind of porn. And then at some point I realized that like I had this epiphany where I was like, I'm not sure like penetration's like, I don't like women getting hurt in those videos. I don't like, there was like a little switch for me. And I started watching only lesbian porn. I started only watching like woman on woman. And I love that. I was into that, and like I kind of explored with that. Because like at the time I was also like experimenting with like sleeping with women, and it was just nice. And it was more focused on how to pleasure women instead of like, still not entirely, because a lot of lesbian porn is, in my opinion, and I feel like a lot of people will, like, especially women who sleep with women can relate, lesbian porn a lot is still through the lens of like the male gaze, because still it's a lot with like dildos and stuff, and that's absolutely not how women have sex together all the time. It can be, it's an option, but there's so many other things you can do. So I watched a lot of that, and then at some point I switched. I was so obsessed with threesomes. I was like, oh my God, I want this. I was so obsessed with threesomes, so I watched a lot of threesomes, and it started off with like two women and a man, but like quickly went to nah, I'm so much more interested in devil's threesome, or like two men and one woman. So I watched a lot of that. And I think that's kind of like the last type of porn that I like was really like into and that I would look for. And after that, like now I have to say I don't watch as much porn anymore. Also because I feel like I don't have a partner right now. So like I love watching porn, and like my sex drive is definitely higher when I'm getting regular sex, which is not the case right now. So I would watch more porn if I'm like having regular sex.
Interesting, because one of my questions, I'll just switch them, was like, what about watching porn in a relationship? And so whether or not you're watching it together or separately, but would you consider it cheating if it's separately? Because I think some people do, just like which we're not going to get into that one, but just like subscribing to an OnlyFans model to support
don't get
or
me
whatever
started.
when you have a girlfriend. Let's not get into that one
yet.
Exactly. But yeah, like
yet.
Whether single or not, I'm just changing into all the positions. Sorry.
That's okay. If people are not watching, that sounds very sexual. She's not changing it.
Oh no,
she's sitting on a bed.
I'm literally like cross-legged on the bed, and then my legs are getting numb, and I'll get a desk soon, I promise. Anyway,
let's that was the least sexy part of this podcast episode. No, I love watching porn with a partner. Absolutely love it.
Okay, I'm taking notes.
Yes, because like it gives you ideas, or it can, if it's good porn, it can give you ideas on things to try. It can turn you on, and I don't know, it turns you on together. Like it's like something you do together. It's not like I would watch porn every day with the person I sleep with, but like it's one of the ways to, I don't know, get there and exactly to spice it up and to be together, spend time together, have quality time together, and I don't know, like get in the mood. So I love doing that. And like the times that I've watched porn with like guys that I slept with, it was amazing. I loved it. Like halfway through we turned it off because we had our own thing going, but
I think that's kind of the point, isn't it?
Exactly. You turn it off and you get frisky together. And yeah, no, like to get back to the question, if they like watched it by themselves, probably, I think
so. Some people are like not against, but like I think it's not even uncomfortable. I think it's intimidated by their partner having their own sex life, when technically you still have your own, even though you have it together as well.
Yes.
I'm guessing.
I feel like it depends
what
on
I've learned anyway from reading.
Yeah. I feel like it depends on where you put the outlines of your relationship. Like what does feel like cheating to you? And for me, what would be important is like, why are you watching that porn? Like, and obviously, like, is it every day? Like, is it getting in the way of our sex life? Or are you just sometimes by yourself and you're like, oh, I would love to jerk off right now and I don't have enough. I feel like I provide enough like pornographic images to my partners that they can use those. But if
so you would rather,
like, but like if they feel like, okay, I'd rather watch something else right now, that's 100% fine by me. But I would love to be included. Like I would love for them to let me know, like, oh girl, I am so hot and happening right now. I want to like, and then for me, knowing that they're like rubbing one out and like watching porn with that's already good for me. Like that could turn me on. So for me, it's more like the communication about it. Like if you include me, if you
just like in everything, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so true. Like if you include me in it, 100% do your thing, honey. And that's a thing. Like when you were talking about OnlyFans as well, if my like partner would be subscribed to an OnlyFans, only if you share it with me, only if I get to see it as well. Don't leave me out. Let me enjoy.
That's true. Actually, I've had couples on mine, but that's later on as well. But so
like I like that. Like sense. I'm all for that. But again, like it's all for me. Again, it's about the communication. If you're being shady about it, if you are hiding it, if you are not talking about it, then yes. Then there's something like then there's an alternative motive there. Like you're trying to hide something. And then I want to know, like, why are you trying to hide something? What is it that you're hiding, basically? So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
I like that. People take notes, make your own opinions as well.
Exactly. Talk to your partner about this
if you have them. So next up is, would you recommend it in general to people?
Porn?
I guess as a way to learn for people that haven't.
Way to learn? No.
Yet, or
no.
I know. I kind of throw that in there on purpose.
Don't take notes.
Get in this. So
don't take notes.
What are the dangers of porn? I think that kind of goes together. Yeah.
Exactly. What are the dangers of porn? Well,
Two-part question.
The dangers of the porn that, like, I feel like there's a lot of more or less heteronormative porn made at the moment. So I feel like we're moving into the right direction. But if you're looking at a random Pornhub video at a random moment in time, the only thing you're going to learn is nothing about female pleasure and everything about male domination, basically. And in my opinion, that's all wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong with like submissive and dominant roles when there's consent. And still, even when
consent,
there's
people.
Exactly. Even if there's a submissive and dominant roles, it will not only be about the male pleasure. It will also be like, that's like, someone who's dominant doesn't necessarily just do everything for themselves. No, you're just being dominant. That's something different. And so like the thing that most people get wrong because of porn, and that's, I'm talking to most men who are listening now, you get this idea that's like sexual arousal for men works the same as for women, because you see all these women moaning and screaming and having the best time of their lives without even touching their clit. I am very sorry to tell you, but that is not possible. Like, there's only like a tiny, like, I think 20% of women can orgasm through penetration alone.
Exactly right.
And they can orgasm through penetration alone. That doesn't mean that that's the best orgasm they're ever going to get. Honestly, why? I just don't get why like adding in touching, like rubbing someone's clit or like licking someone's clit or doing anything with someone's clit is just so hard. Like, literally, it barely takes an effort. It's at the same spot for every single woman. Like, if they would just add that in porn, I feel like sex for most women would just get so much better. So yeah, no, I don't.
Actually, I have a story. I just remembered. I forgot to put in the question as well, but I do remember it was linked to this one.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago now, I think I started seeing someone. Anyway, and he spit on me out of nowhere,
randomly,
and I was like, "Whoa, what?" So, like, obviously to use as a lubrication, right?
I thought he was like he spit on your face.
It wasn't like gross. It wasn't gross, but it was kind of like, what? And so I'm debriefing with my housemate later on, because sometimes we do that. And she's like,
everyone does, girl.
He learned that in porn, definitely. And not
the
great.
The thing with porn is like stuff like that. Like, for an instance, I love it when someone like spits on their hand and like makes their dick wet. Love it. But that's, if that was a first time person, that's different. That it's all about the context, it's all about like, and that's the thing in porn, there is no build up. Like, young people do not get taught through porn how to build it up, like how to ask, what do you like, what do you want, what's like, how do you like it? And obviously, like, there's nothing wrong with something like that, but there is when you don't know the person. And I feel like I've read this statistic that Lala Let Me Explain posted at some point.
I love her.
Yes,
put her in the
show notes.
Show notes.
She posted something about how I think 1 out of 3 girls, when they lose their virginity, they've never had a sexual encounter, when they lose their virginity, get choked without consent. That's because that is like, you see that everywhere on TikTok. There's a lot of people who do like make these like videos where someone's like fake choking someone, and people just think that that's normal. It's not. Like, that is, or like, so it is wrong, if there's consent. It is if there's a mutual agreement that there's both like that.
They're into, they want to try.
Exactly. But you can't just randomly grab someone's throat and think that's normal. Like, we have this whole different, like, weird perception of what sex is supposed to look like, because certain things are trendy. And most of the time, those things that are trending are hurting women and are lessening the enjoyment that women have, like, of women's sexual experience. So that's like what I think around porn. There's a lot of, if you watch a lot of porn, you think that all those things are normal and can be done without consent, but they can't. You have to talk about stuff like that first. And also, like, in porn, you don't really get taught, and I feel like in sex ed in general, that's something that's lacking. You don't really get taught, like, the
Can we
female
even call it sex ed, if I may?
yes, barely.
Did anyone ever had a proper one? Sorry, keep going.
Yes, other than for my parent, like for my mom, she was really good with that, but like other, no, not really. Like, we only put a condom around a banana in class in biology. That's it. But you don't really get taught anything about the female anatomy, and like porn makes that worse. Like, I've had guys who I slept with, who would ask me, which I think good on them that they're asking me, would ask me, where is your clit? And like, at that moment, I'm like, well, I can tell you that's
good
fine.
On them, they're asking.
Yes, good on them for asking. And they were good in bed. They were trying to please me. Like, they were doing a good job and stuff. But when I was thinking about that question, I've had that question like plenty of times from plenty of guys. I'm like, wait, what? It's on the same spot for every single woman. You just go to the vagina hole, you move up with your finger until you hit a wall, and that's where it is. It's like the top of the fucking Christmas tree. Like, literally, you can't miss it. It's there. And I just don't get where did we go wrong that we couldn't even teach people basic anatomy of the female genitals? I don't get it. So like, back while I was having sex with guys, with guys who asked me that, I'd be like, oh, that's sweet. Like, they are like going for it, good for them. But in hindsight, I'm like, oh, it's very sad that we are at a place in life where there's 25, 26-year-old guys or men who do not know where the clitoris of a woman is. Where did we go wrong?
Which, by the way, I'm going to jump in here because I remembered something.
Yeah.
I got this book when I kind of started realizing that I knew nothing, which I was doing those Q&As that I've talked about before, where I was helping people. And so I know things, not because I'm experienced, but because I've read stuff. And so this book is called More Orgasm Please, written by feminists, and it's called The Hotbed Collective. We'll put it in the show notes as well.
Yes.
And it's really good. It explains porns. It gives you ethical porn websites, how to go down on a girl, a guide to anal if you want to try, or things like that.
I love how you lower your voice when you say anal.
Stuff like that.
You're like, anal.
Look, don't leave alone. I'm like, hang on. I'm getting excited because it's getting hot in this room.
It's getting hot in here.
I meant it as a temperature wise, but I mean, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, I highly recommend this book to learn more for both men and women.
Yes.
It's very easy to read. It's funny. And it gives practical tips that are actually useful.
That's good. We need more of that. We definitely need more of that. Like, when I think back to my journey with sex, I'm just so sad that I had so much bad sex. I could have had the best time of my life, and I was enjoying like the rush around it, but I could have also had a lot of orgasms.
I can relate. Yeah, I guess so.
It could have been both, you know. Like, I could have had the cake and eat it too. Could have.
Oh, I like this.
Yes, it would be nice. But yeah. So,
but getting back on track, actually, let me get to my next question. Is there any way to watch porn safely, like ethical porn, kind of joining and things together?
Well, pay for it. Make sure to pay for it. There's a lot of websites. We'll put a few in the show notes as well. There's a lot of places where you can get ethical porn. But ethical porn means most of the time that you have to pay for it, one way or another. Like, either
which is
they
what people don't like. Hey,
Exactly. Like,
But
yes. But that's just the reality, because those people are
support small
actors.
businesses.
Exactly. Not just small businesses, but also like, even if it's on a big website, like, they have to pay actors. Like, they have to pay people because that's their work. That's their job. And that's, I feel like, what a lot of people don't get. People are like, okay, yeah, sex is not a job. It is. It is, in fact, a career choice. Like, and obviously there's a lot of shady shit going on, but if you don't want that shady shit going on, pay for it. Make sure that where you get, like, the consumer is the one that drives the market. If you make sure that you're not part of the shady shit going on around sex work, then we can change the market together. Yeah, anything, most of the time, any porn online that you pay for is like more ethical than the one that you're not paid for. So you have platforms, obviously, like OnlyFans, but like the ones that I said, El Cinema, or Erica Lust has like porn, ethical porn, and we'll put a few more in the show notes as well.
Yeah. So talking about OnlyFans, a lot of people are calling it the new ethical porn. I know you can do a lot of things on there, and some people aren't considering it porn, but like, porn is sex work. Sex work is any kind of job that evokes arousal. So it's a lot of things.
That can be anything, basically.
Exactly.
Like,
or another way to express your sexuality, by the way.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that? Because a lot of people sometimes think that it makes the objectification of women worse in our society, when others claim that it's a way, which I'm one of those, to reclaim your power from the patriarchy, or repair your relationship with yourself from being your power being taken away from you, things like that. Thoughts?
A lot of thoughts. I actually wanted to dive into this topic, like this whole episode, because I had a very lengthy discussion with someone, and his stance was that he what you said before, like, he said, I think a platform like OnlyFans makes sexism worse. And we came to a point in the conversation where I was like, am I the crazy one? I like, wait, what? Am I the crazy one? And did I like, and then, so let me rewind a little bit. I do not think that places like OnlyFans make sexism worse. What I do think is that the owner of OnlyFans is a shady person. Like, all around, like the whole thing where they banned porn for a little bit. So I'm not saying that the top people, the top people of OnlyFans are people that I enjoy sharing my money with. So I'm not sure if everyone knows, but I'm on OnlyFans. And I do not, like, you pay 20% of everything you earn to OnlyFans, basically. Like, that's what they take. So like the highest, I'm not saying that like the CEO of OnlyFans is a person that I would love to give 20% to, but that 80% is still mine. So how I view platforms like this is that for the longest time, women had no way of owning their sexuality, even though like it's just a market. Like, in my opinion, sex work is just a market. There's people who want it, and there's people who can give it. So that's with anything. Like, that's how the market works. If there's demand, there will be a supply. And the way the supply is going to be there depends on how the market is. And in this case, in like sex work's case, for the longest time, there was no way for women to own that and have their own choice in the matter. A lot of women got forced into that. That's true. And I feel like places, I'm not saying that OnlyFans is perfect. I am just saying that it is contributing to women taking back,
reclaiming their power.
Exactly. Reclaiming their power. Yes. Taking back their power when it comes to sexuality. And also, a common misconception about things like this is when people like, oh yeah, because they do not want to do sex work, or they do not want to show stuff like that, they assume that no one would want that. And that is just wrong. Just because you do not like pancakes doesn't mean someone else can't. And in my case, like, I do not post anything explicit on OnlyFans, but I post like twerk videos, I post booty pics, I post like just basically anything that I found aesthetically pleasing and I love posting, but it's very centered around my booty. And obviously it's more for a lot of people, they'd be like, oh, that's very sexy content. And I think so too. And I think I look gorgeous. For me, what I post on OnlyFans is something I love filming. I love taking, and I think that it's worth paying money for. And that other people do not fancy making content like this doesn't mean that I can't. And I feel like a platform like this allows women to do whatever the fuck they want. And in my opinion, that's what feminism is about. And by saying platforms like OnlyFans only make sexism worse because it kind of gives sexist guys the idea that they can pay for anything and that a woman will do it for me is victim blaming. For me, it's like, okay, but that's a you problem. That's the problem of those sexist guys. And regardless of a platform like OnlyFans being there, those guys are going to be sexist somewhere else, because regardless of the women getting paid or not, they are going to be dicks anyway. So, and in my opinion, the people, shout out to all the people who follow me, who subscribe to my OnlyFans, because you mean the world. They're like, in my opinion and in my experience, the men on my OnlyFans are so much more respectful than all the dick pic sending guys in my DMs on Instagram.
Yeah.
The guy I have conversations with guys on my OnlyFans like, hey, how was your day? I hope you have a lovely day and you look gorgeous today. And I love talking to you. And guys talk about like, we talk about anything. Like, it's not all about like, oh my God, I want to fuck you. That's basically like literally that's, I would say you
become their therapist as well. Like sometimes
I would say that's, or not even, because
sometimes you're just a friend. Sometimes they just want someone to talk to.
Exactly.
I had heaps of people from America that just were full on into lockdown last year and just wanted someone to chat to.
Exactly. So, and then that's people who value your time. So they don't mind subscribing to something like that and seeing your art as well. I think that's amazing. I think that is amazing. And yeah, so in my opinion, I think platforms like that are really good. I'm not saying that the CEO of OnlyFans is someone I agree with, because I do not. But in my opinion, it definitely doesn't make sexism worse. Like, it doesn't. The only solution to sexism is education. We have to educate young people to make sure that sexism is something that's rooted out from the core, and something that in my opinion, saying that only platforms like OnlyFans make sexism worse is like saying, don't you think that the Black Lives Matter movement makes racism worse? Maybe for some people it will be more racist, but that's definitely not the problem of the Black Lives Matter movement. That's for me the equivalent. So yeah, very long answer. Sorry. So you used to be on OnlyFans. Why did you quit? Why were you on there? What is your experience? Tell us.
Cool. Yes. Jumped on there when we got into lockdown, March 2020. I was living with a couple housemates, like, need to pay rent. It's doing the buzz. I was already a sex worker, which maybe we'll go after, as a stripper. And so it was kind of like a normal thing. I jumped naturally into it. I was doing lots of twerking videos on Instagram just for fun as well. Spiritual practice, enjoying myself. Let's just shake my ass for a bit. It was just funny. Like, I wasn't trying to get attention or anything like that. I just enjoyed it. And then I ended up being offered to be paid for it. So I was like, okay, yeah, you can go on my site. I did a bit more explicit content. For me, it became a way, so not straight away, like after, I think I started like, 3 months into it, when you start that, you do get asked to do more. People try to push your boundaries, so you need to be straight on what you want to do. And eventually, if you want to explore, then you want to explore, but you need to know that whatever's on the internet is on
Is
the
on the
internet.
internet.
So once you've done
Exactly.
something, it's there, whatever. Okay. So knowing that I'm pretty free thinking person, and I'm just kind of, I had to like, if you've been here listening to the podcast, I had a couple bad experiences and never really experienced myself. It was kind of like people telling me basically, have fun, discover who you are, or like what you like or whatever,
Exactly.
and we'll pay for it. That's all.
Sounds like a good
so
deal.
just like, you know what? Why not?
Yeah.
So did this for a couple of months, but still didn't sit quite right with me, because it is something that like you kind of want to just share with yourself. So it did the trick, and it made me feel empowered as I was doing it. And then a couple months in, I started feeling a bit less. I went back stripping, with same different story for after, but I had also met a guy and current boyfriend. And yes, I always had said, when I started stripping, when I started OnlyFans, once I meet someone, I know I won't be able to do it, because I won't be able to give attention to anyone else. Like at the minute, I'm single, I'm learning to love myself. It's fine for me to get a bit of extra validation, attention, because it helps me get confident and embrace my body and discover who I am, or my sexuality.
Exactly.
But yeah, the thing is, when you do that, you're literally putting to the universe out like, I'm not going to do it because it's not aligned with me once I meet someone. And it's like backwards. And I didn't notice that. So I met the guy, and it was like, okay, but also a bit not okay. And it's just like, but I don't want to do it anymore. And so I just kind of stopped. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just like, you know what? I just don't think it's aligned anymore. And I did it for myself. By the way, was not asked or anything like that. I was just like, what am I doing when I don't want to do it and it doesn't make me feel good anymore? If it's just for the money. And like, I do things very impulsively, as we've known on this platform. But I didn't really have much of a backup plan there. But I was like, hey guys, I'm quitting. Bye.
I'm out. Cool. I don't like this anymore.
And I had a similar experience with stripping as well.
Yeah, we'll get back to that in a second, because I think that's really good. I think that's healthy. Like, I think it's good that you, like, first of all, it's really good what you said with like, know your own boundaries. Because for me, like, people are like, are you comfortable with people seeing what you post on OnlyFans? Yes, if they pay for it, sure. But if for like on a Freaky Friday, it gets leaked, I'm also fine, because everything that I post on there, I'm comfortable with. And that's how I feel about it. Like, don't post anything that you're not comfortable with. Don't post anything. Like, that's what I always think. Like, am I comfortable with other people seeing this? Yes, because I think it's freaking gorgeous. I think I look amazing.
I think that's also, I want to jump on that, because I think that's the difference where people think you're selling your soul. And if you are doing in a desperate way to make money, probably not your soul. You're like actually selling your body, which we all are anytime we're doing something. If you're a carpenter, if you're a secretary, a doctor, you're using your hands, like, it's a form of selling your body. Sex work is the oldest trick in the book or in the world, whatever they say. Like, it's been there forever because it's been in demand. It only exists because there's demand. Yes. And anyway, so if you are doing it out of desperation, or you're afraid your content's going to get out there, well, that means that it's not for you. Yeah. And that's okay.
And also, I feel like that's also the thing. Like, make sure that you're comfortable with something. And also, I don't think that there's anything bad with like selling something because you're desperate, like you need money. If someone wants to see like photos of your feet, go for it. Or if someone wants to see a photo of your booty and you're like, yeah, why not? Go for it if you need the money. Basically, that's all fine with me. It's more like the stigma around it that a lot of people say, like, yeah, when you do sex work, you're damaged. And
or it's easy money because it's a picture of your feet. But the thing is, that person's asking for time, energy, and
Exactly.
It's a piece of you anyway. And sometimes they are also asking for counseling.
Yeah,
You're giving them
exactly.
energy. It's actually energy work.
Exactly. So yeah, let's hop into that a bit further, because you said that you used to strip, and obviously like I know that, and I think a lot of people who listen know that as well, because you quit about 3 months ago or something.
I quit the end of August, I believe.
Oh, okay.
No, the start of August, because I was going to celebrate my 3rd year. And I realized that it's funny because when I first started, I was like, I'm not going to do more than 2 to 3 years. And so it was just in time a little bit. And I didn't knew before I did it, kind of thing.
Yeah. So how did you get into that?
Yeah, so I was stuck in house. I've had a lot of house problem, guys. So I was stuck in a house with a friend that was kind of like narcissist a little bit. Like there were money problems and control issues a little. Well, anyway, so when I was moving out and I got that job, it was like, oh my God, freedom, because I had been a waitress for the last 2 years, and like I was basking, which is singing in the street with my friend that had a guitar, to make end meet.
Yeah.
Like I had no money. Like I was counting everything. I was that chick that like is happy when she says she has $2 in her bank account instead of one. Like that was bad. So when I became a stripper, so that randomly happened because one of the waitress where I was at wanted to check it out, and we went in the club, and the owner was there, and he was like, oh, who's it for? And it was for her, but then it's like, oh, like you can both come for a trial this Sunday. It was a Wednesday, and it's just like just going on stage, giving a lens, and see if you like it or not. Until that day, I had no idea if I was going to show up. I thought that it might be me selling my soul at that time. Yeah. And I was like, you know what, try it. You can always leave. Like no one's making you sign anything. No one's forcing you to do anything. And so I went there and brought my sexy lingerie, and then just like a girl was really nice, introduced me to everything, took me on stage with her, which was the first time that I was able to express a part of myself that I never really could in France. And I didn't know that I had this. I just felt beautiful for myself. And then obviously there's people looking at you, which makes you feel even more beautiful or like confidence. And you see every girl as a different shapes, different ways to move and to express their own sexuality, sensuality. And you do a lot of that on your platform. And I love that because, like we all have different rhythms, I believe. Yeah. And everyone can appreciate different ones. Yeah, so go on stage. And so with that same girl, actually, we got some customers that were together because you can do lap dances together. And so it's in the same room and you do get naked and they can touch some of you. But there's strict rules and there is a controller in the room, which is making sure that the rules aren't broken. So no one is touching me behind my belly button. They can do this, which is putting their hands on my boobs or on the side of my butt. Yeah, that's all, basically. Okay. And same, I wasn't sure I would ever be comfortable with that. And this is where, funny enough, well, I was also single, but it's not that it mattered because it works for other people that are in relationship. But for me, I don't think I would have been comfortable. And anyway, it was just like, I said it in our body image podcast. You're a spiritual being in having a physical experience, right? My body's not like it's just a body. It's just an envelope. Yeah. And it's just touch. Exactly. So you have to be comfortable with that. Obviously, some people cannot be. And if you're more tired some days or you're a bit more sensitive, like emotionally, you can feel like it's not good for you. Like I've had it's invading where I'm with a customer and it feels like, so usually you have a lot of respectable people and it's a lot of energy exchange. You're talking to them. You're making them feel good about themselves because you're selling your attention. It's not even selling your body. It's selling your attention because that's all that they want. They want to look at you. They don't care what you look like. And they want to talk. Or they want to see you look at them knowing that you're with them for that moment of time. Like it's company. Exactly. Basically. And you do have people that aren't really respectful or try to break the rules or things like that. And it has never happened to me. It's happened to some unfortunate girls that I know as well, which is not like too bad. Like they get thrown out of the club straight away, obviously. But it's not nice. And so it's never happened to me, but still, it's just like sometimes there's moments where you can feel just like, oh my God, this is heavy energy. This guy is just here to kind of take advantage of me, which is not. Yeah. You go in there in the strip club to have an experience. A lot of people know that. They know they're here to just have fun, not to take you home. And a lot of them thinks that they're going to go there and try. I'm going to be the lucky guy. I'm going to go home with the stripper. No, that's not how it works, hon.
I'm selling you a dream.
Strict rules. Yeah. Yes. So I know that it does happen, but it's very rare. And like it would be a connection, and usually you don't have a lap dance with that person.
It's the same as like going
with them, like I don't know.
Yeah, it's the same as going in the doctor's office and thinking that you're gonna hook up with the doctor while you're a patient. No, you're just my job, honey.
Like you're 1 in a million kind of thing.
Exactly. That it does happen, but it's rare as fuck.
But yeah, to go back to my story, basically, before lockdown came down, I had done just about a year. So the whole first 6 months, the baby stripper phase, I call it, which we all call it actually. You're making money because you're super confident and excited because it's all new and you've never made money like this before. By the way, it's like not every night. Like I've made 0 in a night, and sometimes you have to pay to work. You often have to pay to work depending on clubs, so it sucks. But you can make a lot. You can make a grand or so a night, and you can come home with like $40, and you have the same car ride home or taxi ride home and same bills every week. So you just have to know that and adapt.
It fluctuates.
But yeah, the first 6 months it's happy. Like I invested in my health and supplements and just like clothes, like just things that make you happy. And then it does go down a little bit because especially Australia in winter is very there's not many people, not as many people. So if there's no people, there's no money. And that's a fair bit of time as well. So yeah, my mental health started going a little bit down because same, like you don't have the same, it's cold and there's no people, there's no attention, there's no money, like it's a cycle and you feel like you're not there for the right reasons. So then the lockdown happened and it made me forced to quit because the clubs are closed. Jumped on OnlyFans, another way to work without being touched or having that connection. Like I make my own rules, I make my own hours. This is great.
Exactly.
And then when OnlyFans started going down because of the same reasons, I actually, my friend went to another club, and because she was staying with me at the time, I saw her getting ready and stuff. And I was like, fuck, I do miss the girls. I do miss the stage. And I do miss the money.
Yeah.
Obviously. But it was never my first, motivator. Actually, my first motivator was like confidence. Feeling good about myself. It gave me a lot. And like the girls, I never had a sisterhood, and you do go through a lot of shit together. So you create like forever friendships kind of stuff. Yes. So I went back to another club and so much more freedom, and really liked it. And same, like when I met the guy, I was kind of like, I just didn't want to go anymore.
Yeah.
So I ended up not really going to work and just kind of keeping it in the back burner. But it was waiting
for the moment for you to quit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, good experience.
Would you say, so I feel like a lot of people have this perception that sex workers or strippers or like any type of sex work in general, that only women do that who don't have another choice. And with your story saying like, okay, I was kind of desperate for money. Would you say that that's the case, that like, that's a fair thing to say, that like, if you had another choice, you wouldn't have done it?
I don't know, because somehow I feel like I was always meant to do this. And I also sometimes feel like everyone should have that experience at some point. If it's safe for them, because it can be toxic for some people that aren't ready mentally or can't you need to be strong, or it teaches you to be strong, like you need to handle yourself and create boundaries and stuff, and you're selling your energy. But a lot of us have landed because of past toxic relationships, trying to get out of a situation, that kind of stuff. But because there is also an attraction to the club. And I remember when I told my family, which was really hard because I I came out just after the lockdown in OnlyFans and stuff, and they were really supportive. It was really hard, but they were really supportive. And I remember having a chat with my sister, and we used to watch this movie called Coyote Ugly when we were younger. Not sure if you have heard of that. But they're dancing on this bar. And this is like, I feel like a lot of girls have seen this movie, want to do that, dancing on the bar, like this liberation, this sexual empowerment, women empowerment of being on a stage, being seen, or like being a stripper. Some people joke about it, but actually there is I wish I could be one sometimes,
Honestly, like I've had a fantasy of being a stripper for a night for the longest time.
Do it.
And the thing is, like, I think, yes, I agree with that. What you're saying, like, I feel like everyone should have that experience, but more so not necessarily the experience of being a stripper or a sex worker, but more, I think, that comes down to, I just wish that every woman had that experience of sexual liberation, of that lift, that weight of all the expectations and all this shame around sex lifting off your shoulders. I feel like that would just be so. And for me, like, I teach women that through twerk. So not necessarily, like, no one's watching, no one needs to watch, but it's the same experience that you're describing. Like, for you, that came through stripping. I feel like for other women that could come through twerking, or like, and that doesn't have to be in front of different people, but I feel like that sexual liberation, I 100%
that's true,
agree.
This
that
is how I learned to twerk.
Should have that. Oh yeah, you told me actually.
If I hadn't started stripping, I would have never learned how to twerk. And that changed my life as well. Definitely. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. So I 100% agree with that. I think that's such a good lesson to be learned from it. And like, obviously there is still a lot of like shady shit going on in the world of sex work. But I feel like having conversations like these are just so helpful and so actually builds up to somewhere, like giving an overview of what it is actually like, giving people tools to realize, okay, those are people and this is just a market, it's just a job, and different reasons why you could jump into
people have different boundaries as well.
Exactly.
Because it's like, I've been asked before as well, some girls do private shows. I've never done private shows, which is basically the same as stripping, except it's not in the safety of a club. You would go to a guy box party, which is a bachelor party. So it's surrounded by guys, and usually you're by yourself, and you need to say, okay, boundaries, I'll do this, you can do this and this, and that's all. If someone breaks the rule, I'm leaving. Like, I've been told this before, money first, that kind of stuff. But it is dangerous, and some people do this when they're going to also play with toys, which that was never for me. But that doesn't mean that, when I say that, I mean that as in, like, to open up the conversation, as in, know that some people have different boundaries, and that doesn't make it okay to judge them. Just like lots of people think sex work is just paying to have sex, so prostitution, or sex toys, that kind of stuff. But no, it is anything that evokes arousal in someone else, which can be anything. Like, you've been having people being excited by your eyebrows on your Instagram story. So, it can literally be anything. But it could be.
Yes.
OnlyFans.
If there's a market for it. If there's a market for it, then yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Everyone has different boundaries, different things, and no one should be judged. Just like you don't kink and shame.
Exactly.
People like different things in the bedroom. Some people like to talk about it. Some people like, a lot of people, all of that stuff. And you can keep it private. You can talk to people.
Exactly.
But you can't judge others because they don't like the same thing as you. Most likely you like things that other people don't like as well.
Exactly. And it should all be about respect, in my opinion. And I think that is 100% the best note we could have ended this episode with. I know it was a long one, guys. Thank you so much for sticking it out with us. If you think this episode was helpful in any way, please send it to all the people you think that it could be helpful for as well. And if you could leave us a review either on Instagram or Apple Podcasts, we would be eternally grateful. And we'll see you back, you'll hear us again in 2 weeks for another episode. And that one's going to be on heartbreak. So, so excited.
Oh, exciting. Nice. See you next time. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.